Are you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Tool to Play presents Still Got Game with Derek D. Smooth Nolan and Joel Duda Rock Albert.
This episode of Still Got Game is brought to you by GoDaddy. Hey now, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Still Got Game, episode 23. Still Got Game is the official podcast of ToolToPlay.com. I am, as always, Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
And I am Joel Dude I Rock Albert.
What's going on, my friend? We had a little sick week last week.
We did. I hear you still have a little bit of the sniffly sniffs.
I do, but the show must go on.
Can't do 2 weeks of madness. We gotta get back into it.
No, I literally go in these coughing fits that last like sometimes 4 and 5 minutes. So I'm going to try to hold those off until the part where you talk. But in case they don't, I have a mute button all squared away today.
Nice. This is the medicine that you need. You need to get back into the show. This will cure all. We've told people how many millions of times that when they want to rate us, by the way, you should rate us on iTunes, that it cures all diseases, right? So that's why you're actually here. You're here to cure your own disease.
It's not the medicine that Gotham wants. It's the medicine that Gotham needs.
Exactly.
Yes. But I guess we're going to hit this show fucking ground running. We'll jump right into feedback from last week's show. Remember, if you want to leave us something, a voicemail or anything, it'll cut you off after a minute, so be short, concise, and to the point. Acid Snow comments. D Smooth, do you work out? Because you look beefcake. Also, what possibility is there to have Electrify join you in duty for a surprise tri-cast of Still Got Game, since Code Monkey seems to be AFK? The quote of the show regarding porn on the PS4 and Xbox One, D Smooth, why are you running into that wall? No reason. You, Jay? One-handed gaming is a bitch. Me? It's cool. I'll shoot when I'm done, and then I'll shoot. And similar to that comment, T3 comments, if we're giving quotes of the show, then PS4 Play wins. Duty needs to copyright that ASAP. So, couple positive comments on our banter on porn.
Porn always brings out quality entertainment for everybody. Whether it's the type of quality entertainment where you're going to go alone in a room and, I don't know, love yourself. Or the quality entertainment where we're discussing it with other people on the internet.
But I do appreciate Acid Snow calling me out on my muscular looks. I can't tell you my workout secrets. All I can tell you is that, yeah, this shit's fucking real.
You're gay.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe we will, actually, I was talking to Tiff earlier tonight, that we may have some Tool to Play stuff in the works, so maybe she will be on the show with Jay and I next week. So we shall see about that.
That's true, yeah. That might be actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah, might be a nice tri-cast next week. So we'll see what we can do for you, Acid Snow. And kind of segueing off of this, yes, I have boobs, B-E-W-B-S, comments. I absolutely loved last week's episode. I was laughing out loud at my desk when you guys were talking about the porn rates on the next-gen consoles. Love your show. Keep it up.
So we just have to do as much porn content. This is the secret. I think we finally, after the...
It's our sweet spot?
This is the sweet spot. It's porn. Or the wet spot, depending on who you're talking to.
True facts. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm glad that we will keep it up for you. Yes, I have boobs.
Wink, wink, keep it up. No problem.
Yes.
By the way, we don't have any problems keeping it up.
No, not at all. Not at all. And last but not least, Hitman comments. Whoever is producing the last 2 episodes is doing a great job. I'm so impressed. Well, thank you for the comment, Hitman. We actually brought in a new producer 2 episodes ago. His name, coincidentally, is also Hitman. And he is the one that is making the show such the fine piece of work that you're seeing either live here on Twitch or when you're watching on YouTube. And we have the nice titles and there's fucking all this fancy graphics around us. Like I'm pushing up here, pushing on the wall, pushing down here. Down here is my name's over here. And then I have like my Twitter and my Xbox gamer tag, maybe my PlayStation gamer tag over here. Or maybe it was the exact opposite of what I did with my hands. But either way, that's all thanks to Hitman. And so Hitman, thank you for commenting on the quality of Hitman because we are happy to have him as our producer.
He's all right.
He's cool shit.
He's all right.
All right. Well, if any of you have feedback, give us a call, 773-527-2961, or email us at podcast@tooltoplay.com. And in site-related news, I don't have a whole hell of a lot except that we do have a secret upper echelon meeting of the Tool to Play Muckety Mucks this weekend, and maybe we'll have some more information for you next week.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe we'll have like an info dump sort of thing that goes on next week. That's not a bad idea. Although I don't know if all of our listeners really want to hear that, so we'll figure that out.
Yeah, so we'll pick what you want to hear, and we'll spoon feed it to you like it's fucking medicine. You'll be like, I don't want medicine. You'll be like, oh, that tastes fucking good. Give me more medicine. And then we'll fucking medicine all over your fucking faces.
Are we going straight back to porn?
I'm trying. We gotta keep taking it back. We cannot go too far from our sweet spot. Like we can veer off a little bit and then bring it right back home. Off a little bit, right back home. And that's how we're gonna keep this show fucking A game.
In and out.
That's right.
You're welcome.
Well done. And on that, why don't we slam into what we're playing? Joel, Dude I Rock, Albert, what have you been playing this week?
This week I've been playing a little bit of Call of Duty. I'm kind of continuing my Call of Duty spree. I did actually, I think I said it 2 weeks ago, I was going to give Battlefield a chance again. I played Battlefield a little bit last weekend, the weekend that we had off before the week we actually did the show. It's better now. It's better. That's as far as I'll go. But I've lost such interest in it now, I think. And now I'm in that Call of Duty mindset where like controllers and everything, and my brain is now like, my synapses are connected to the Call of Duty world, that I just don't have the chops to play Battlefield now. So I'm kind of stuck with Call of Duty. And Dead Rising. Actually, I've really enjoyed Dead Rising so far.
Well, those are the Call of Duty. But I'm glad you're enjoying Dead Rising. There's a big, huge patch coming out for that soon.
Yeah, that'll be nice. Not far enough, but it's good. It's a good game. What about you?
Well, I've been playing all kinds of shit. I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty Ghosts 2 or 3 nights last week. Finally jumped into Lego Marvel with Tiff. All the kids have played it in various pairings of these two kids played, this kid played with this kid, so they have a different save than these two. But we finally jumped in. We played through just the first mission so far. And it's like every other Lego game, but looks better. The voice acting is pretty decent. Some of the characters don't seem quite movie quality, but then Coulson comes in and it's Coulson being Coulson, and it's awesome. And I'm looking forward to playing through that with Tiff. So that's going to be one of our side games. I also played a little bit of World of Warplanes, Jay.
Well, on purpose?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
And well, because we've had our press thing, and I went to our press team and asked who wanted to review it, and there were not a lot of responses.
Oh, God, that's not a good sign.
So I installed it, and I even played it as recently as today at lunchtime. I played at my desk at the office, and I'll tell you, that game is it's tough. It is
like all their games. You have to have like an engineering degree. You got to have a protractor out. It's a lot of work to play that kind of a video game.
But the upside of the press account is I have every plane. I have like $10 billion in every.
Nice.
It's like, oh, this costs fake coins. This costs gold. This costs experience. I was like, I got all that shit. Upgrade my shit. I'm out there fucking bombing people with like nukes, and it's actually pretty fun to play on a press account. So I highly recommend either you be rich or have a press account, and this game is going to be way more fun because it's definitely pay to win to some extent. Yes.
That's what sucks about a game like that is like if you ever want to be good at it, you need to have the money or the time to be good at it, but you're not good at it yet. So for a new user that comes into a game like that, they're like, oh, this is too hard for me. I don't want to like go down this path of like 7 months of work to like get a plane that finely kicks ass.
Well, I'll tell you, I never won a game though. I lost every game, even with my God machine, because there's guys that are still that part where you have to be like this fucking aeronautic genius. That part is still like super key. Like no matter how much you pay to win, you could pay yourself up to 4th place maybe, but you can't pay your way up to past those top echelon guys, and that just comes with playing, I guess, and learning tactics and dogfighting tactics and all that kind of stuff. But it was actually surprisingly a lot of fun, and I'm probably going to be the one that writes up a review of this for the Tool to Play homepage because
actually, well, you know what? In this particular case, you're actually perfect for this review anyway. We have a long history with that game company. We've known about that of World of Planes forever. We've demoed it ourselves beforehand. So really, you are probably the best person to actually.
Well, if you want to play with me, I have a second press account.
Let's do it. I will actually do that with you. I would love to see like who can, in a small amount of time, shoot at least one plane down.
Oh, believe me, it took 4 or 5 games until I got my first kill, so I was feeling good about that.
And that was already like on fire, burning.
I just finished him off, like winged him.
Got that one shot in. Yeah, that was me.
But it's a good time, and I'm looking forward to playing some more of that before I do up my review. And then I also just the two time killer games that I play every week, Zen Pinball 2 and some Peggle 2. Just a couple games here and there, pinball, a couple games here or there, trying to get through the challenges in Peggle because I played through the campaign, which is basically just play through all like the geeky mascot guys, and now it's just like finish this map with no pegs left. Finish this map with 750,000 points. Finish this map without using this guy. Well, here's a quick tidbit. When it says that one of the achievements is to finish that map without using that guy, that's the guy to use to get the big points one, because there's a reason why they don't want you to use him. So pro tip right there for you Peggle players on Xbox One. But other than that, that's about it.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, on that, why don't we slide into the, once again, week list of new releases. There's one new release out this week. It is a multi-platform release, and it's Insurgency. And this is out for the PC and the Mac, and that's available on Steam. That's probably, for those of you who are like, whoa, something out for the Mac? It's only because it's on Steam that they were like, I guess we'll compile it for Mac too for those punks. Insurgency is a great squad-based PC first-person shooter. And it's based on an earlier source mod that was out in the Source engine, and then now it's a standalone title. It's super polished. It aims to be like a really realistic war first-person shooter. So unless your gun has crosshairs, there's no fake crosshairs out there. If you have the right kind of scope on your gun, well, yeah, then you have that. But otherwise, it's very realistic. You feel down and dirty and nitty-gritty. The graphics are amazing. It features 32-player multiplayer over 5 different game modes, 12 different maps, in 6 real-world countries like Afghanistan and fucking Fallujah and you name it, set in real-world locations. It also has a squad. No more of this like, I can always talk to my team no matter where they are. No, it's got a squad-based VoIP, so it's kind of like Halo 2 was. You could talk to your guys, but here you can talk to them if they're within range of your VoIP transmission. But while you're talking, if there's enemies around you, you got that like proximity chat thing, and people are like, "Oh, I hear them talking over there," and that's built right in the game. So it's not like people are end-arounding it with, if you're using Ventrilo or whatever else, because it's built in the game, and you're going to be paired up with different people. So you want to use the in-game voice chat for that. I think the game looks phenomenal, and for $20, if you're looking for a different first-person shooter on the PC or Mac in this case, that can potentially tax out your graphics card because you can just dial the fucking all the sliders up to full bore. It looks pretty decent, and Valve would not have got involved and pushed this to be a legitimate standalone title had they not seen what I think people are seeing in this, and it did really well its first week. Obviously, Valve never releases digital sales numbers, but they keep touting how well it did that first week, and usually they're not there to bullshit. So
I don't know. It doesn't. Is this a game that you're interested in really though? That you would buy?
If I was looking for a shooter on the PC for $20, that's equivalent to your AAA squad-based shooters.
True.
I already have Call of Duty on the Xbox. That's where I play with my friends. So
right.
maybe I would try this out on the PC. Now Tiff's been doing a lot of PC shit lately. Maybe she'll pick this up. Maybe she's downloading it right now. Maybe our video quality is going to go to shit. she's downloading it. Who knows?
Yeah, it looks like a pretty interesting game. I always like to see any of these sort of like PC first games, which usually means it's a indie-ish type of developer that's putting it out there first to see how well it sells and stuff like that. So it actually does look pretty cool. But with the FPS market the way it is, kind of like you already said, you already have Call of Duty on your Xbox. I just can't see myself moving my FPS experience currently back to the PC.
Yeah,
it's weird. But also, I'm so into FPS on console and not PC, but I am. I think it lives and breathes on the console now. As weird as that sounds.
It does. That's usually the primary dev platform now for these multi-platform titles. But if you're looking at the flip side, look at all the games that have come out of Source mod, Counter-Strike.
That's true.
These games were all mods to some Source engine title that then became full standalone titles. And if you're going to judge how well something did based on Counter-Strike, you have potential to do pretty well there.
That's true. That's true.
All right. Well, on that, Jay, why don't we meander over into gaming news? First story!
A little bit of sadness, if you've been following Nintendo. But also a little bit of, that doesn't shock me. Nintendo warns of a loss after slashing Wii U sales forecast by 69%. Oh,
69 dudes.
we like to keep the porn. Throughout the past year, Nintendo CEO President Satoru Iwata has maintained his belief, blindly probably, that the company will turn an operating profit of, and we'll go with, the yen, 100 billion yen in 2014, even in the face of disappointing Wii U sales. Friday, Nintendo finally revised that estimate, now forecasting an operating loss of 35 billion. That's 336 million for you US folks, and a net loss of 25 billion yen, or 240 million. And what can only be seen as a huge backtrack for the Kyoto video game giant. So this is some fucking rough news. Nintendo also expects to sell just 2.8 million Wii U consoles this fiscal year, down from an estimated total of 9 million. Quite a swing, a drop of 69%. In case you guys are really into math. While the company will no doubt have received a sales boost from some degree from this holiday season, it did manage to sell just 0.46 million Wii U systems in the first half of the year. So, of course, that 9 million figure that they had has been dubious for a while. And seemingly, I would say, non-reachable. Let's go with that. Nintendo admits it has failed to sell as much software as it had hoped for over the holiday season due to the fact that, quote, hardware sales did not reach their expected level, unquote. Kind of hard to sell software when no one wants to buy the system that the software runs on. The profit and sales estimates always looked optimistic in the extreme, so the revisions won't come as a surprise to many, and clearly they don't come as a surprise to us either. Whether it will jolt the famously conservative company into changing its strategy finally remains to be obviously less predictable, considering what we've seen. So, sad news, not surprising, but I mean, what does it make you feel? I mean, we seem to talk about this a lot with Nintendo, so it's kind of like, oh, here we go again. We're going to bash Nintendo.
Oh, we talk about it every week, but now we have what we've been saying all along is what's now been Nintendo finally had. They couldn't be like, oh, yeah, the sky's fine. Oh, yeah, the sky's fine. The sky's blue. It's up there. No, now they're like, the sky is fucking falling. And that's kind of what we've been saying all along is that, you know, you can't pretend that you're selling something and then go into the holiday season, expect to have this huge, like, software. And we saw all these developers drop off doing these exclusive or even multi-platform titles. They dropped their Wii U support for them. And, you know, it's no surprise. You sell, what was it, 0.46 million consoles in the past year. Microsoft in December sold 346 million of the old Xbox, or 346,000. So that's 100,000 less than the, you know, next gen, whatever you want to call it, the mid-generation console. That was, like we said, that was Nintendo's whole problem all along.
Yeah, it was a mid-gen. Yeah,
it was a mid-gen that was released at the end of gen. Had it been released 2 years prior to that, I'm sure the Wii U would have done a hell of a lot better. But you can't release that kind of tech 6 months, a year before the real next-gen consoles and expect people to buy it.
Very true. And again, I don't think the whole Wii U thing really caught on. I mean, it's weird because they're very conservative as a company of what they try to do in terms of the market they go after. And in the same swing, they're probably the most non-conservative company when it comes to like what they're doing with the technology of having the Wiimote and all of these things and motion control and, you know, having what is essentially a laptop or tablet and in your hand with the Wii U. They do these like really grand and different things, but then they market them towards people that probably they don't need to market them to. They're just a really confusing company. Nintendo in the last like decade has just been really, you know, they got so caught on being a console for younger kids, especially with having all the portable things that they have. All those devices generally skew well towards the youngins. And I think the big mistake was then putting the console in the same boat. So, I mean, it's weird. They're conservative in one end and totally, you know, really way outside the box when it comes to actually building the hardware. So,
yeah, well, even last gen, like look back at the Wii. Like the Wii, when you compared it against the Xbox 360 and the PS3, it was nowhere near it wasn't even HD. But at the same time, they were like, okay, well, the thing we have to fix that is this super innovative control system with the Wiimotes. And granted, everybody bought into that right away. They were like, oh, okay, this is cool. This is new. And old people loved it, and nursing homes loved it, and little kids loved it. And even us hardcore guys were like, hey, it's a good second console or a third console. But you can't, you you can shine my dick once, but you can't shine it twice with shoe polish. Otherwise, you got to use a little spit there. You don't even understand what that means.
No, I listened to it, and then my brain was like, just don't say.
Yeah, it's an old expression. Really old. All right, next story.
Next story. Oh, dear God. Castle Doctrine Dev says sales hurt players and developers. And this is coming off of, obviously, my joy and love of every Steam sale that has ever occurred for my PC. Oh, boy, look. It's that game you like. And it's 20% off right now. Sales are great, right? People are making a ton of money. Well, the Castle Doctrine developer, Jason Rohrer, does not think so. Rohrer argued on his blog that rampant sales for Steam or any other game system create, quote, a culture of waiting, where players wait for a good sale before finally pulling the trigger on a game, which in turn makes launches really weak and early adopters become disappointed because there's less support for the game, right? Take that hypothetical game from earlier. You're ready to bust out your wallet for the 20% off price. But wait, what if it goes down to 30%? What if it goes down to 40%, 50%, or even further, right? Potential buyers can wait indefinitely because really there's so many games in the market anyway. They can wait for another game or another game. And he argues that it hurts developers. So one of his quotes is, launch weeks become weak and developers grow to depend on sales for financial survival, end quote. Rohrer proposed this in his blog last week. Quote, this waiting game is likely decimating your player base and critical mass at launch by spreading new players out over time, end quote. Rohrer also points out that he believes that sales hurt early adopters as well. Quote, to put it bluntly, sales screws your fans. That's a little unbelievable. He also was quoted as saying, your friends love your games and eagerly await your next release. They want to get your games as soon as they come out at full price, but they are foolish to do that because the sale is right around the corner, end quote. The counterculture of sales, Rohrer will be offering his own game, the Castle Doctrine, at a pricing scheme that is the inversion of the sales business model. The game in an alpha state will be available for $8 when it comes out on Steam on the 29th. Then it will cost $12 when it actually is released. 1 week after launch, it will rise to the full price of $16, which Rohrer wrote it'll stick kind of forever. That's like you didn't get it when you were early, now you pay full price. Quote, anyone feel burned by that plan, he asks. So this is really interesting. This is a new way to think about the Steam sale. I guess the first question I have for you is, do you agree or do you believe, first of all, that these sales actually do hurt developers? That's the first question.
For me, it doesn't, because when there's a title that I want, if it's something I've been waiting for, I always get it released, and I'm one of those guys. And then I watch it, and I see it 2 weeks later drop from 60 to 40, and you're like, if only I could have waited, but I can't because I got to play with my buddies on release day. But at the same time, I know all these people and a bunch of them are our friends over Cheap Ass Gamer, where they don't care that they get something on launch day for the most part, because they say, you know what, 2 weeks from now it's gonna be $40 at Target, $40 at Best Buy. I'll just wait 2 weeks and get it then. And what that does is that gets them the game cheaper, but it does hurt that publisher or the developer's launch day sales, launch week sales. And granted, there's two different types of gamers. There's the ones that need it and want to play it now, want to play it with their friends right when it comes out. And the others that say, you know what, I understand how the system works and I can play the system. Now, the Steam sale is something entirely different, where that's like, I can wait 6 months and get everything for like 90% off. And that's an entirely different beast altogether. But forget the Steam sale. Forget the absurd sales. Just the standard sale model of video games comes out at 60. Either a week or two later, it'll be at 3 of the major 6 retailers, whether it's Toys R Us, GameStop, Best Buy, Target, Walmart, you name it. It'll be there at 40, at minimum 40, sometimes 35. If it's a game that didn't sell well, which, self-fulfilling prophecy because people are waiting, sometimes it goes down to 30 right out of the gate at that first sale. So I don't know. I see the logic in his model, but I don't. Unless everybody does it, it doesn't work for anybody. It's one of those things where everybody has to cut over at the same time. It's like if everybody decided that they were no longer going to follow speed limits and they were just like, fuck it. Everybody would have to do that the same day. one guy can't be that guy. Otherwise, he's the same guy that gets pulled over for speeding. But if one day everybody was like, speed limits are unconstitutional, we're just going to drive whatever speed we want. Well, what are the police going to do when everybody's driving 80 miles an hour down the highway? Nothing, because everybody has to convert at the same time. Same thing here. If every developer switched to this model and they were like, you know what, you buy it on launch day, because we know the long pole is, they probably figured this out. They say, we get, 80% of our sales when the game's not full price. So why don't we say, for the first 2 weeks, it'll be $40. And then after that, it'll be $50 for 2 weeks. And then after that, it'll be $60 forever. And it'll sit in bargain bins at $60. And it sounds absurd, but if everybody did it, that model completely changes the entire marketplace for games. And it does make sense.
See, I'll tell you why this guy's completely wrong. Because here's my thing. I think all gamers are the same. I don't think there's a wait and see gamer and a buy it now gamer. I actually think those gamers are the same people. The way I look at this market and the way they actually do marketing with video games and everything is it reminds me a lot of the movie industry. Now, for the most part, I won't go to a theater to see a movie. Right? Like, I'm not that guy. I'll wait for DVD. I'll find it on the internet, whatever. Those are the movies that I was never going to go see in the theater in the first place, right? Those are movies where it's like, oh, here's some fucking shitty action flick. I'm not going to spend, $10 to go to the theater and watch this. I do want to see it, but I don't want to see it that bad. And it follows the same model with video games. Now, if it's like a Lord of the Rings or something really geeky that I'm going to masturbate to and I can't wait to go see, I will go to the theater. I'll see it in IMAX. I'll fucking put 3D glasses on like a jackass. I'll buy popcorn. I'll spend like $30 to go see this film because that's the film I want to pay to see. I think if you make really great video games, people will pay full price for those video games. People aren't waiting 6 weeks to go or 6 months to play Halo. Or Call of Duty or whatever. Yes, some people do because those are the people that aren't really that into Halo or aren't that really into Call of Duty. But the people that want to play those video games, they will buy them on day one because that's what they want. They want that game. You've made a great game. Maybe for developers like this, of no offense, a no-name company and game I've never heard of, maybe that might hurt sales. Maybe then your business model has to change. And I think that model that he's doing is actually makes a lot of sense. Get people addicted to your game by making it, and this is why I love free to play. Make it free to play, make it, open beta, whatever. Let them play the game. Now they don't know this IP. They love the IP. Now they're willing to fork over cash later on. So I think while his ideas are, they're valid in some respects. I think in the main AAA world, people that want AAA titles like Titanfall will succeed for all the people that are masturbating to Titanfall currently. They will go out, they will buy the game immediately because that's the game that they want to play.
Oh, I haven't stopped masturbating to this entire show.
See? I'm doing it right now. You hear that knocking sound?
Yep.
That's not a woodchuck, people. All right? So, I just think that in that way, it's like, I don't know. He's right in his world, but in the AAA world, I don't think that actually works.
I actually concur with you. I think we disagreed, and then we agreed that there's two different models. Yes.
All right, next story. Disney Infinity moves 3 million starter packs via joystick. Disney Infinity may have been named as a reference to its own potential revenue. Wink, wink. Via the New York Times reports that Disney Interactive has sold 3 million Disney Infinity starter packs, which includes figurines of 3 of Disney's characters and the game itself. Infinity was the 10th best-selling game of 2013, according to data from the NPD Group. Activision's Skylanders Swap Force, which you can call the father of Disney Infinity, and its main competition, was not one of the top 10 best-selling games of 2013, but the Skylanders series revenue from retail sales has surpassed $1.5 billion earlier this year, so it's not like they're hurting you. They're doing good. Consoles have received annual installments of the Skylanders franchise since the introduction of Skylanders Spyro's Adventure. Plans to expand Infinity's cast have resulted in new figurines from Disney's Frozen, Wreck-It Ralph, and Tangled films, with references to classic moments from the past films being recreated in Infinity's toy box mode. With Infinity's introduction doubling Disney's Interactive's fourth quarter earnings, Infinity's play set is likely to keep expanding. So if the play set's going to keep going for Infinity, wink, wink. What do you think? Did you buy this? I think you were interested in buying it, but then you didn't like it, or I can't remember.
We picked it up. It just didn't have that. It doesn't have the Skylanders kind of need to have the characters thing to it. It's you could just have the game, and you don't need figurines. Now, obviously people have bought in this model. They sold 3 million of the starter packs. But I think what's happened now is, and just to give you a quick refresher in case you forget this, the game has a pad. You put characters on the pad, and there's two different modes. There's the story mode, which is, you put like a clear special piece in the middle, and all of a sudden you're playing Pirates of the Caribbean, or you're playing, Lone Ranger, or you're playing Toy Story, or you're playing one of these things, and you put your characters on the other two parts, and you play through that game. The other half of this, which is the problem here, is the Disney Frozen, the Wreck-It Ralph, the Tangled. These characters are just for that toy box mode, which is the creative mode of this. So those games were not shipped on the disc. The disc has like 5 or 6 full 6-hour, 8-hour campaigns on there. Impressive for a game. Like, nobody does that. But all of the additional characters they've come out with are literally just expansions to the creative mode, to the Minecraft mode, if you will, of the game. And that's not what I'm interested in. I don't mind playing through the campaigns, and it's a good time. But I guess really what they're probably saying here is that, okay, yeah, we're going to keep releasing these things and allowing you to expand your toy box. And then at some point, we're going to come out with Disney Infinity 2. And that's going to be another game that we're really on the disc. There's 6 games that you just get one of from whatever characters you bought. And then when you buy new packs that have the special clear piece that lets you play a new campaign, then you can expand that way. So I see their business model, and I'm glad they're doing well. I hope that in the next iteration of this, they figure out a way to make it feel like the characters are not just a gimmick, but they're something that you actually want to have. I don't know.
Good for me. I have no kids, so I have no care for this at all. It's irrelevant to me. This entire, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck. Weirdos buy this shit.
Fair enough.
There you go. All right, next story. This is a good one for everybody. Study. Dance games help your bladder control and your urinary incontinence. Everyone knew this, right? This was clearly known. It's clearly known fact. Dance games help you burn off calories, lose unwanted weight, tone your muscles, and teach you some sweet moves to bust out at the next wedding that you're invited to. According to a study published in Urology and Urodynamics, they can also help women with urinary incontinence. No more peepees on yourself. It's fantastic news. Slap that on your next dance game, Ubisoft. Pee-pee stoppers, part 2. Canadian Swiss researchers wrote that 24 women over the age of 65 experienced a greater decrease in the daily urination leakage from the it's hard to even say. Woo! From the daily urine leakage than the usual program, which is improvement in effectiveness, as well as no dropouts from the program at a higher weekly participation rate, which increased in compliance over the course of 12 weeks. It's a tough pee-pee regimen. Whew. Of course, the researchers did not specify which games they used for the study, and the game itself isn't as crucial to the results as the fact that the participants were engaged in a physical activity. But overall, I mean...
yeah. Anything that stops women from leaking pee,
it's good.
For a shorter amount of time where they can go, or a longer amount of time where they can go without leaking pee it's a big plus.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of things less attractive than someone just leaking pee.
When they pee on themselves.
Yeah. Now, when I do it, it's cool.
Right.
Yeah. Like all those times at E3 when you and I have been at parties and we're like, yeah, it's...
You're like, oh, the bathroom's like 13 feet away. I could go there.
I already have a drink. Come on, right here. It's like right in, right out. Boom. Yeah. Done.
Yeah. Wow. So,
yeah.
Wow. Story.
Jay, that story has me saying, what the fuck? And on that, why don't we move on to the mailbag and voicemails? Altius asks, you guys did a great job covering my question on the oversaturation of AAA shooters in 2014 on last week's episode. As a related follow-up question, what underrepresented genre do you think could thrive on the Xbox One and PS4 if a developer or developers moved into that void?
Well, that's an easy one.
Yeah, I think it's a fucking awesome question, first off.
Fantastic question. I mean, no question that the void that has been left over in the console world is MMOs. There's never been a true port. I mean, we've seen them, right?
We saw
We've
the
seen
Fantasy Star Online. We saw.
Yeah. So what's the shooter that failed from the developers that did Rift?
Yes, the massively yeah.
How sad is that? But I mean, there's been attempts at it. It's been okay. It's been slow going, but obviously the largest game in the world, even now after losing all of those subscribers, it's still the largest game in the world. Is World of Warcraft, which is an MMO. So clearly there is a market there that is largely untapped by the console world. And to talk about which developers would move over and be great in that area, you'd probably have to say Blizzard. Just because they have the largest MMO and they've done really well with Diablo. So clearly I think they're on a path to do that. I don't know when that will be, and I don't think it will be World of Warcraft itself because the game's way too old. But if they ever get around to their new game Titan, whenever that actually is announced and does come out, I would probably say you'll see it on your console. I would think so at this point. But that, for me, first of all, it's a great question. But that is the market that seems to be sorely lacking on the console.
Well, at least on the Xbox One for that. Like chat's saying the same thing, that there are a bunch of MMOs that were the Sony MMOs that were ported over to the PlayStation 3, but they never really saw the same success they did on PC. And I grant that's one of the first two things I thought of was the MMO market is definitely undersaturated on consoles, whereas everybody's playing shooters.
Yes.
The other genre that I don't even know how you fit it in. So let's look at the genres that are oversaturated, or at least fully saturated. You have shooters, definitely oversaturated. You have sports games. There's only so many sports games you could have. You have one or two of each. You at least have competition, and you have that particular sport covered, whether you call it FIFA this or this FIFA or this football or football this or NFL this, or there's at least one or two titles in each of the sports. So I think those are covered. RPGs. You have traditional US RPGs, you have JRPGs. And they seem to come out with not this time of year when there's no new releases, but usually we cover one or two a week. And they're always like, I don't know. It can't compete against Skyrim. It can't compete. There's always something that it can never be as good as. And I think that those are pretty saturated. You have your casual games. Now that's a lot of times these are relegated to the arcade or downloadable titles. I think those, we have a pretty decent quantity of those. I think board games is probably one of the other categories where it's not going to be a AAA title, but think of how many people would buy and not like we've had Monopoly releases in the past that have been, but it's not an online game of Monopoly. It's, you can go in your house and play with 6 or 8 people in your house and have a good time and whatever. But I think that's a market where a smaller developer, it's not like, the development team that was working on Call of Duty is going to be like, all right, you guys are off Call of Duty and now you're on Monopoly. That's not going to happen. But you're looking for a dev that's looking for a spot to break in. Break in with your classic board games. Break in with your Monopolies, your Clues, your Trivial Pursuits, some party games. That is definitely underrepresented on consoles right now. If you have a bunch of people over and you want to have some kind of party experience, either you're usually doing a music game or a dance game. And, sometimes people just want a board game or a trivia game experience. You're kind of making a face like that's an absurd thing, but this is not saying
an absurd thing. I mean, it's
a spot where there's a hole. Like I can't think of a lot of holes. MMOs and
I can think of a bunch of holes, and I can't wait to fill them.
Ding, 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 porn.
You're welcome.
Card games, too, I guess, would be another thing. Like, we had, on the last gen, we had Uno, which was wildly popular. Like,
it was.
If you told anybody that Uno would be one of the most popular games on the Xbox 360 for a while, you would have said, fuck you, no way. But really.
But then if you preface it with, there will be a camera in which you can show your genitalia, then maybe people would say, oh, well, then clearly that's the game that I want.
But
that's why.
Even after they patched around that, Uno did really well.
It did do well.
And I remember playing, like, even in the middle, that was when we were Halo junkies, and we'd be like, let's just play some Uno. And it wasn't like totally a fucking gay thing. It was like, we're going to play some Uno tonight, Jay. That's right. Let's do it. Let's invite 2 other friends in and play some Uno for 4 hours.
This isn't weird at all.
No, it's like we kept having to tell each other that during the game. But,
why are you lighting candles for an Uno session? It's like, just let it happen.
It's the ambiance, dude. Just open up, literally. So So I think there's some spots. I don't know if, like Chat's saying, I don't know if there's any other hardcore segments of gaming that are underrepresented, but I think that those fringe, family, social, party type games are definitely underrepresented. And
yeah, I would say so.
Other than that, I can't.
Those games, even in the indie world, which I think is why they're making that push, those one-off type of games. The indie world's starting to really take hold on the Xbox One, and maybe we'll see more this year. I mean, certainly in like the big miss, everyone could say MMO. It's just really easy to say. And like I've seen in chat, people have said like, yeah, DCOU, and there's plenty of MMOs on the systems. They're just not popular, quote unquote, by MMO standards in the PC world. They don't even.
Well, they're ports of old MMOs on the PC that they're like, oh yeah, now we're finally bringing this to the Xbox, or we're probably bringing this. Most of the time, it was the PlayStation 3 that they all got brought to, and
and they haven't like made a game for the console. Like, I mean, LB made the point of saying Destiny. I think you could consider it an MMO, but it's not a real. I mean, not the same stand. It's in that fuzzy world of like, there's multiplayer, and it's what is MMO?
It's more of like a Guild Wars. What Guild Wars is to MMOs, yes. It's instanced gaming.
Right.
Yes.
Different thing.
All right. Well, that is a great question, Altius. It definitely brought up some chatter, so thank you. And if any of you want to shoot us off a question like that, 773-527-2961. You can also comment on this episode on the Tool to Play homepage. And sponsors! Remember, by supporting our sponsors, you help to support Still Got Game. GoDaddy, starting at less than $5 a month. Web hosting from GoDaddy.com includes 99% uptime, 24/7 support, and free access to the GoDaddy hosting connection. The place to quickly install over 50 applications like WordPress, Joomla, Drupal, E or OS, Commerce, and more. Go to tooltoplay.com/GoDaddy for great deals on new .com registrations or renewals, starting at just $1.99. Some restrictions apply. See site for details. Get your piece of the internet at GoDaddy.com. Woo! And if you'd like to sponsor us, like you'll get an awesome fucking read like I just busted out there. Tell us what you're selling. We'll tell us you pay us. We'll sell it. You pay us. Boom. Done. Twitter us up. You can find everything Tool to Play related at twitter.com/Tool to Play. Everything podcast related at twitter.com/still_got_game. I, king of the internet, got of everything that's fucking holy at twitter.com/Derek Nolan.
You can find me on over at twitter.com/DudeIRock.
Facebook the fuck out of us. Facebook.com/Tool to Play. Facebook.com/Derek Nolan.
Facebook.com/DudeIRock.
We also have this little thing called a YouTube channel, Jay. YouTube.com/Tool to Play. All of our video content is there, whether it's Still Got Game, whether it's fucking Thick and Thin with LB and Duty, if that ever comes back online. It's hits, quick shit, hit, bong, hit, shits, or whatever hits show is called these days. They are all available for you on our YouTube channel. So subscribe to the YouTube channel. You'll be notified whenever there's new content from Tool to Play. And, some's better than others, but you know what? It's content, and content is king. So definitely go to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tool to Play. Subscribe to the channel. You will not be disappointed. Also, we have a little thing called the iPhone app. Download the app, and it directly links you to all those YouTube videos that we're talking about. Links you to the top conversations on the Tool to Play forums. But we are looking for comments on the app. We've had some positive comments. We've had some suggestions. Maybe the logo's the wrong logo. It's the old Tool to Play logo. But that's okay because the app is a work in progress. We're working on it. So we want your feedback on the app. But the only way to get that from you is if you go to the iTunes store, you download it. And you know what? It's fucking free. So iTunes, search up Tool to Play, download the app, try it out, let us know what you think. Also, please rate and review our podcast in iTunes. While you're in iTunes, go over to the podcast tab. Search up Still Got Game. You'll find us right there. Give us 5 stars. That's the correct number of stars. It lets you give 1 to 5, but obviously 5. So once you give us our 5 stars, you write a little review for us. The review goes something like this. Gods, fucking balls to the wall. Oh my fucking God, this is amazing. Oh, I don't even know what I would do without these guys. Oh my God, they're so dreamy. Whatever one of those reviews you want, you can copy any of those, or you can come up with your own as long as it's awesome and it gives us 5 stars. Last but not least, please join us each and every week. Monday nights live, 7 p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/Tool to Play. We're live here. We have a chat room going on. I know Hit's been posting the chat for those who watch the video version on YouTube or you're watching it live tonight. The chat shows up there. People contribute to the show. We take those comments. We integrate them in the show. We make those people feel like they're part of the experience. We bring them in. We bring them in and we give them a voice where they don't have one because they don't have a show like this. Maybe they're sitting at home. Maybe they're jerking off with one hand. They're like, the other hand, maybe I'll make some comments on this show. On this show. Like that. And they're making some comments on the episode. We're glad they don't have video and they're not providing their video input to the show, but we're glad that they're commenting and we're glad that we can incorporate them into the show. So please join us each and every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/tooltoplay. And on that, why don't we wrap this episode up, Jay? I am Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
I am Joel Jacket Off, Dude I Rock Albert.
The show must go on.